So hey everybody, I'm Everyday Buddyfighter, and this is a video on the Great Valiant stream. And since it is not April Fool's, that means I may or may not be going back to consistent uploads. But honestly, depending on how Buddyfight works out, we'll see how that goes. So, Great Valiant is going to come out next month in Japan, depending on how this whole thing works out with the crisis. So let's just get into the card. Let's start this off with a very popular ace deck, the Electro Deities, starting with Amaterasu, Dance to Wisteria. It is a basically upgraded version of the original Amaterasu, except it is the 3 gauge cost, and it has Penetrate. So it's during the player's attack phase, you draw 2 cards, and then you can either gain Engage and give all Electro Deity 8,000 power, or you gain 2 life and give all Electro Deity on your field defense 8,000. What's important is that you draw 2 cards instead of the original 1, with the condition being that it's only during the attack phase. So it's, it's a mixture, and it is very heavy cost. So if you don't want to pay the 3 gauge, you can call it for with Izanami for free as a size 0 monster, but since it only works during attack phase, it is still important to run the original Amaterasu, which just works whenever. So hopefully, Electro Deity will go back to being a really good Lost World Turbo deck, which I'm assuming will work out since they have now an exclusive spell gnome, which prevents recast. God Clock had to flip over 4 times, now this is just for free, so take that as you will. Speaking of Lost World got some new cards, such as the Knight of Moonless Dawn, Lost Knight Guilt Lance, a very, very long title, but it is a new Gemetto card from, based on the artwork you can see. Gemetto Lost Warrior that's just in Lost World and has counter oppress, so if you're playing Lost World, you can oppress your opponent's areas, meaning you can have 5 monsters on your field for just any deck you want, which is gross, honestly, but of course this is Lost World, you do have to at least allow your opponent to play somewhat, but if you're playing Gemetto, then, you're just getting an extra boost to your deck. And of course, it's basically a mixture of the original 2 with that it can't be destroyed unless you pay Engage. And, you deal 3 damage instead of 2, so it's pretty nice. We'll keep seeing if Gemetto actually gets Star Dragon World support, which it definitely will, but we'll just have to wait and see. I am definitely more fond of this card than the other stuff that we've gotten, like that random card with all 4 stats, which is like, okay, that's weird, but okay. But of course, I do appreciate the Dimension Restraint card, which is a Breath spell for Lost World that also prevents restand, so very useful to have. But the true masters of Lost World have to stick with Ranma, since Ranma's the main antagonist of the series. You'll definitely get some of the best cards, starting with Dimension Dragon Ghastly, which can get 2 Dimension Dragon or Lost World monsters from your drop zone. You rest and pay Gauge, so you probably will want to get Agonia, Ankos, or Epis from your drop zone. But of course, saves your opening turn, it's fine, because Eternal Rivals will just pitch the cards into your drop zone, let you draw a card, and then you can use Ghastly to just get whatever you might particularly need at the time. Speaking of the drop zone, they also got D-Road, which is a Dimension Dragon drop zone call. You pay the call cost and then reveal a Lost World in your hand, and then you prevent your cards from being removed by abilities. In Lost World, it probably won't be as good, since, realistically, after you go into Lost World, if you wouldn't have another Lost World in your hand unless you kinda bricked, because obviously you don't want 2 Lost Worlds in your hand, it's not very favorable for you, but just in case you do, it's there, unless there are going to be Lost Vader monsters that will be Dimension Dragons in the main deck, which we'll have to wait and see, I guess. But for the moment, your best target is going to be Agonia, so yeah. The other main waifu of Ace deck got support too. Folktales have a new second attack phase card, which is good, since obviously phase enders do mess up the super aggro heavy Folktale, and they do have now an upgrade to Emma, which prevents nulls to return to hand. Ability is basically an advanced version of Ideal Prince. However, the ability has Sweet Dream Scenery, is also nice whenever it enters the field. You can check top 5 and call a monster for free, which is a pretty decent ability, but of course it only works once per turn, so I'm not really sure if I run this at 4, but I do appreciate any buddy option for a deck. Particularly like the one for Dragon Bloodsec, the Dizzy Lure, which is essentially just buddy option, except when your Dragon Bloodsec monster destroys one of your cards with a card effect, you draw a card and deal damage to your opponent, but only works once per turn. But of course, you can just stack multiple copies of it, so it kind of works out. It's definitely more appreciated than buddy option, since you can't nullify monster acts from the hand, so yeah, that's nice. Max Dragons are also getting support, which is usually a plus, especially with this card, a new size 3 bro, so you can drop it from your hand to add a set spell or a Max Dragon item. There aren't really many good Max Dragon items unless they have a new one, which I'd honestly be okay with. But otherwise, success searching is always nice since, yeah, typically usually people just know the search, so it's always pretty nice to just have a monster act instead. And if this card's in your drop zone, max dragons on your field get power 10,000, defense 10,000, and critical of 1. Keeping in mind that you have 4 of them, so with the size 6 you'd have a maximum of 70,000 defense, and I sure hope there aren't decks that just don't care about giant zap buffs like that. Also have a new spell with Lord Break, Lord Imperial Impact, which can let you call a max dragon from your drop zone without paying its call cost, which is pretty good, which means you can essentially turbo into the size 6, which there is definitely a way to get into your drop zone pretty easily with Fortune Favors the Dragon. You won't benefit off the abilities of the other cards though if you do just turbo into the size 6, since you won't get to search the spell null, so keep that in mind as well. But if you're a player who doesn't really favor interactions and just like to just take stuff from people, don't worry, Godpunk's got support with Legend of God and Strongest Top Fist. You can just call 2 Godpunks from your drop zone by paying the call cost, and by you paying the call cost usually means your opponent it only works through the attack phase, which I guess is so that you don't just screw over your opponent during their main phase, so there's that. What would you call it though? Of course, with different sizes, you want to call at least 1 Brawl Suit, of which there is a new one. You can put a total of 2 cards from the field into the drop zone, and then plunder when it attacks to remove cards from their hand, but not discarding the card, which usually some decks do benefit off that. But honestly, with all those different callings, you might wonder, well, how I can only keep so many monsters in the field at once. Don't worry, they also got a new item. The Beat to Death Bat, I can't even say it correctly, Beat to Death Bat, Hermes Bat. So you put a Godpunk, and then it's put a Godpunk from your drop zone to the soul, pay a gauge, both your opponents of course. This card can attack with a monster in the center, and all Godpunk monsters can't be destroyed or returned to the hand by your opponent's card effects, which is usually how you remove them. But yeah, not anymore. So you have to force target the item first, and all size 2 or less Godpunk monsters become size 0 with this ability, and of course it's a good item, which means you can play Gaia at more than 1 copy and then still have room for a Brawl Zeus in the middle. So that will be a super fun interaction to have to deal with. With no real segue for this deck is the League Dragon Order card, which at the moment is just 1, the Bond Training, which is a search top 4, take as many features as you want, put them into your hand, and the rest into the gauge, which probably favors the size 1 variants more than the size 3, but we'll see which direction they decide to go in. Luckily that isn't the case for all decks. Hero World is getting more cards, such as cards that aren't even in the anime, with Mobile Area Team with a new size 4. Haruka and Fubuki obviously is a size 4 so that you can't call it, because if you call it up it's kind of ridiculous. So you have to call this call by writing it, and you ride on top of a Mobile Area Team you're already ride it on and pay 2 gauge, so 4 gauge total to get onto this card, which in Mobile Area Team isn't even that bad. So you probably want to call on top of Sakanagi with 2 souls, and of course with its ability, since it will have 3 souls at the beginning, it will get weapon link, and of course you can just purge the monster you ride, so you can still put in 2 other cards, most likely a Feather Blade. And its ability allows you at each player's attack phase, you can put a weapon from your deck or hand into the soul and then shuffle the deck. I will probably be stacking a lot of Asanagi so I can get a ton of defense with the debuff additional from Asanagi's skills, so that will be super fun as well. Battle buildings, while not ever being in the anime, are still technically an anime archetype. They also get support with the new Golden Dolphin Great General Dynagoya, which is a very large mouthful to say. It's a stat boosting card, it just gives a bunch of boosts when you call it. Of course, I don't know what the spell that corresponds with it is, so I can't say how viable it is yet. But it does prevent your battle buildings from being nulled or returned to the hand, which is always nice to have. Of course, Sakukichi got a new card, which is even better since it is essentially just holy magic for Hero World. Hopefully this doesn't get abused into a loop. Council Man, I feel like, always kind of gets a short end of the stick, where now the only support card it has as of yet is a search spell for Galaxy Exalts or a drop salvage, but the Galaxy Exalt part is not specific to monsters, so I believe you can search into spells, which will always be fine. However, unlike Cosmo Man, Mystic Knights always get support whenever they can, such as the new set spell RF, which I hope that's how it's pronounced, otherwise it'd be very short. So the set spell, you can only set 1 on your field, thankfully, and all Mystic Knights cannot be rested by your opponent's hard effects, which means that thanks to Knight and double neck Kanari, you essentially can't remove them unless you have like Time Dragons or a Vanity on the field, which is annoying. But you know, Grace exists, so you have an out to everything, I guess. Also features a counter call ability, and I'm super glad that they do, because I'm sure there aren't multiple cards that already do that, such as the new Byakuren, which essentially just attacks and then restands when you attack monsters. You'll call Byakuren with a very, very large stat line and just run through a monster that you just essentially can't really get rid of otherwise. Hopefully, if you have to deal with this in the deck, you have a card that prevents standby ability, so yeah. But you know, Mystic Knights are just a favorite deck, which is why they get an SP of Nice One, which I think is pretty neat. So I guess it warrants a ton of support it gets. Kind of like Jackknife, which even though Suzuku just got support in the Great OverAGE, it's like, nah, we're not done with you yet, Suzuku. He Dragon Arm's Pit, which is a new set spell which prevents your Neo Dragons from being destroyed by card effects. Of course, you can just pop this card first, but you know, that's part of the fun. You don't even have to, you're not also limited to one, which is also an additional buff. So during each player's attack phase, choose a monster in your drop zone and assign to create a Neo Dragon, pay a life, and then put a card into the soul. So it's pretty much just, you know, let's pay a life to get a bunch of souls, Dragon Arts into the soul, which I feel like is not just good for Jack, but also good for Zodiac, kind of like the cards that they just got. So yeah, it's nice to see that the Suzuku still gets more support, even though there are decks that seriously need it. Kind of like Blade Dancers, which is where the new Kurigane Hayabusa is. I don't even know how to pronounce these cards, honestly, like, yeesh. So it prevents your Exo Blades from being destroyed or leaving the field by opponent's card effects, which is good because, you know, Time Dragons exist and you can only say about have grace for so long. So at the start of each player's attack phase, if your Exo Blade is standing, which it usually will be, you gain 2 life and deal 2 damage to the opponent. It's automatic, it doesn't require an if you do destroy whatever. And it forces all your opponent's cards to attack, kind of like overturning Athora, except this time it's just, yeah, it's always there. So what's good about that is that if your opponent is forced to attack, they will either trigger your impact or your set spell trigger if you decide to just attack your monster instead. So you can slowly just force them into a position where they will either burn themselves out one way or the other, which is pretty neat. But what if you're the kind of player who's just like, nah, I only rep Darkness Dragon World, don't worry. Cursed Dragons got support and they're more solitaire than ever with the new Gale card, which just allows an instant search for a Cursed Dragon with set from the deck or drop zone to the hand, and of course you look at the deck shuffle, and during your opponent's turn, if they're the card, you get 3 life and then draw if there are 8, which if you have gone first, there probably will be, especially thanks to the new impact. But of course, since even though it says that it searches up to 1 Cursed Dragon with set from the deck, it does not mean you are not running Lazam, since Lazam searches outside 1 monster, so just remember that part. The new impact is the Curse Count, which is an impact set, of course, because he's basically just little Gaito, so why not? If a Cursed Dragon monster is field damage, you take or reduce by 1. At the end of your turn, put the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck face up on the flag, which obviously if you have gone first, if you can play multiple of this card, it's very beneficial for you, since you know you want to get as many cards on the flag as you want as soon as they can. But of course the damage reduction is only if you have a monster on the field, of course. So if your opponent just runs through your monsters first, then they don't have to care about the damage reduction, so there's that to consider. But you know, Imperial Core also are terribly lacking in player interaction, since essentially they just do whatever the hell they want during your turn and just whatever you want, who cares, right? So especially with the new Gabriel, it'll be even better since it allows you to call an Imperial Core monster with the drop zone, make it size 0. So even if you add in a bunch of monsters that you want, you can just recall it again with new Gabriel, so that's super duper fun. And there's a new spell, the Saint Thunderstorm. You can only cast it during your opponent's turn. Of course, it destroys up to 2 cards on your opponent's field and rests them. Either way, it will do a damage to your opponent for each, so helps into their burn. But I do like that Eden is not wearing her mask in this one, so that's pretty nice. Just like the new artwork for Ingolgard, which also features her without her mask. Kind of like, I do appreciate these new character arts for more old sets. I really do appreciate that, at least in this, there are new SP arts for very commonly played cards. Just like Star Believer has one with Subaru on it, even though I feel like the artwork is a little bit kind of on the nose, but it is what it is. Subaru also gets new cards in the form of a new cross, the Indicated Hope Cross Astrologia. So at the start of each player's attack phase, you can call the 2 Astral Dragons from the drop zone into separate areas of playing the call cost, depending on what you want. It's fine either way. Just, you know, watch out for loyalty if it's your turn, of course. But being able to just call monsters at the drop zone during both players' turns is always a beneficial effect, so it's fine. Galaxy F is that if there are 3 or more different Astro Dragons on your field, obviously you're playing Astro Dragons, not very hard, they cannot be returned to the hand by opponent's card effects or destroyed. Souls cannot be dropped and abilities cannot be nullified by your opponent's card effects, so you get everything with 1 card, and that's super gross. But honestly, as Astro Dragons definitely need that kind of support, so I'm not going to complain.
By putting in God Cross into former Legislator Soul, former Legislator now cannot be removed thanks to the new cross, but you also get God Cross's incredible stat boost, which of course you can stack because former Legislator is not a once on the field event.
Gonna end this off with talking about Yuga's cards, such as a new Ninja Arts card, which shuffles back Ninja Arts into drop zone, either giving you Drag God tokens that allow you to attack, or it just gives you Gauge and Life Sustain, which is more than fine too. Honestly, just being able to return Ninja Arts from the drop zone to the deck is super good, since you want to refresh your futons or your hidden hiding and fallen leaves as much as you can anyway. But the new support doesn't stop there, as there is a new form for Deity Gargantua Dragon Dual Mode, which is clearly a mixture of Blast Mode and Sonic Mode. Its ability essentially mixes both of their abilities anyway, giving you 2 cards but also destroying 2 cards with all their move, penetrates, yada 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 being smushed together. So it is a very nice card to have, especially if you have gone first. But of course it doesn't end there. There's also a new form featuring Hero World this time, Gargantua Justice, which prevents your items from being destroyed, the rest of instead return to the hand, which that's for the course of Hero World. And when it enters by AG Evo, you can choose a card with Transform or Ride, and you can equip it without paying the cost. However, Yuga at the moment doesn't have one, so I'm wondering if they're just gonna do that or just gonna have it there. I don't really know, but I'm fine with them being a Hero World Garga as long as they make one for Dungeon World or Danger World. And with so many Drag Gods, it definitely benefits you, since you want to play Dear Friend, which requires you to drop a Drag God from your hand, and luckily you will play many of them. So you either draw 2 cards, and then if there are 3 or more different Drag Gods in your drop zone, you draw a card, which in any Garga deck is essentially just a given. Or for this turn damage, you take over by 3, which is fine. You can also play as in Legend Dragons also, but thankfully you cannot play as in God Clock. And finally, just have a new SP art for Gargantua Switch Mode, which will definitely benefit from you having multiple Drag Gods to call from your hand, hopefully with all these new forms and such. So that's essentially Glory Valiant as we have it right now. I'm super fine with this, and I'm actually looking forward to the set as a whole, but I still don't know what's going to happen to this game. Is the game dead? Because you guys are just hyping up nostalgia for the last 4 months. Is the game dead or not? Just figure this out, Bushiroad, because I can only hold on hope for so long before I just switch to Digimon. But with that, I'm Everyday Buddy Fighter, and I'll see you later.